Caitlin Clark more than likely is going to miss yet another game. Caitlin Clark has a no return date.
No timetable for her return.
We don't know how much longer Caitlin Clark's going to be out.
You know, the injury could be worse than what it is.
He was very susceptible to was groin pulls and ankle injuries.
It looks like she will be out for quite some time.
People want to see her actually play.
Yeah, it's definitely a relief to know that there's nothing else going on and no more damage.
The approach that's being taken is one that keeps in mind her well-being as well as her long-term health.
Her absence is a tough break.
Just now, the Indiana Fever may have lost Caitlin Clark for the season, and it's heartbreaking.
The way she gets guarded in the WNBA, and the officials are part of the problem. Clark will continue working with the Fever medical team on her recovery and rehabilitation with the priority on her long-term health and well-being.
Her groin injury has taken a disastrous turn, and the way this has been handled is a complete failure. If you stand with Caitlin Clark, drop a 100% in the comments. She deserves better, and we're going to expose everything that led to this moment.
Caitlin Clark is the face of a league.
There's one person in this league that when she walks in the building, when she walks in the room, the owners see dollar signs. There's only one person, and her name's Caitlin Clark.
It all started on July 15th in a game against the Connecticut Sun. Caitlin Clark, who had already battled through a quad strain and a previous groin issue earlier in the season.
Caitlin Clark was injured with her mobility when she caught the first groin injury.
Went down again, this time with a right groin injury. At first, the team downplayed it. They called her day-to-day, leaving fans confused and hopeful. But anyone watching that game knew this wasn't minor. Clark didn't bounce back.
It could literally be her running mechanics changed, and it put pressure. Even slightly, it put more pressure on her upper legs.
She looked uncomfortable, lacking explosiveness, and her shot, normally one of the deadliest in the game, suddenly had no arc, no lift.
No timetable for her return. Indiana Fever guard Caitlin Clark underwent further medical evaluations earlier this week. The team can confirm that no additional injuries or damage were discovered through the evaluations.
Her legs were failing her. What wasn't said publicly, but was clear from her performance, this injury had already been building.
Caitlin Clark adding this muscle to her body very quickly.
And the Fever's heavy reliance on her wasn't helping.
He was very susceptible to was groin pulls and ankle injuries. So
now, what that sound like? This sound like the exact same injuries Caitlin Clark.
Reports confirm that this is now Clark's third injury of the season.
Clark's recent right groin injury, which she sustained on July 15th in a game against the Connecticut Sun, is the third different injury that caused her to miss time this season.
She's missed 11 of 24 games so far.
She's missed 11 of 24 games this season.
And her body is clearly screaming for help.
All the muscle everybody was reporting on, even me, all the muscle, this right here, bro. We remember when these pictures dropped, we seen Caitlin Clark yelling and she was ripped. Everybody thought it was just going to be kumbaya and she was just going to be a monster. She wasn't going to be getting hit the way she's been getting hit. Adding too much muscle can potentially hurt walking mechanics, particularly if it leads to muscle imbalance or restricts joint movement.
Her burst is gone. Her movement isn't right.
I think Caitlin Clark adding a lot of muscle so quick may have impacted her mechanics.
This isn't just about soreness. It's about survival.
What's wrong with the groin? Is it a strain? Is it a slight tear?
Then came the official statement.
The Indiana Fever have given a update on her status.
No additional injuries were discovered.
Caitlin Clark underwent further medical evaluations earlier this week, which confirmed that no additional injuries or damage were discovered.
But that only raised more concern.
We don't know how much longer Caitlin Clark's going to be out.
Hey, Caitlin Clark is out tonight once again. It looks like she will be out for quite some time based on this newest statement.
Because the truth is, her groin is still injured.
Yeah, it's definitely a relief to know that there's nothing else going on and no more damage. Now it's just being patient with the process.
Nothing magically healed, and the fact that the team focused on no new damage instead of giving a recovery timeline just made it worse.
Following a July 15th injury to her right groin, Indiana Fever Caitlin Clark, the team can confirm that no additional injuries or damage were discovered through the evaluations.
Caitlin Clark is not just sidelined. She's being silenced by medical vagueness, media distractions, and a system that refuses to protect its biggest star. This isn't just a groin injury. This is a breaking point for her body and possibly her career if mishandled.
And it is not a day-to-day situation because we're talking about her long-term health. We've talked about this long-term health deal.
Caitlin Clark underwent further medical evaluations earlier this week, which confirmed that no additional injuries or damage were discovered.
Let's call it what it is. A disaster, not just medically, but organizationally. The Indiana Fever and possibly the WNBA have not been transparent about Caitlin Clark's injury. They initially called it day-to-day.
Your coach keeps lying and calling it a day-to-day situation.
But in any case, it's not day-to-day.
As if she might play in the next game. But the reality? She's nowhere near ready. She hasn't just been benched, she's been disappearing from the floor week after week, and fans are starting to wake up. So why the smoke and mirrors?
Eventually, Caitlin Clark needs to take matters into her own hands.
Why the deception? Because Caitlin Clark is more than a player. She's a walking brand, a TV rating, a ticket seller, and the face of a league desperate for attention.
Indiana Fever continue the charade of not knowing what's going on with Caitlin Clark's injury status.
Clark's injury is a blow to the networks as it proves she's the biggest, league's biggest ratings draw.
That's why she wasn't allowed to rest properly the first time. That's why she was rushed into games before being fully healed. That's why she's been trotted around for media appearances, autographs, charity events, and pre-game hype videos, even while injured.
Clark missed the first game in both cities due to injury.
The franchise tried to make it seem like she was close to returning, even keeping her on the questionable list just hours before game time.
That Caitlin Clark was listed as questionable for a Wednesday night game against the New York Liberty in New York. About 5 hours prior to game time, it goes from questionable to out.
But behind the scenes, Clark had already started seeking second opinions. She reportedly went to New York to consult other doctors, stepping outside the Fever system entirely.
Caitlin Clark was going to be visiting her own doctors or some other doctors in New York, and I guess the doctors in New York probably told her, yo, your groin is messed up.
Why would a rookie do that? Because she no longer trusts the system that was supposed to protect her. She's now surrounded herself with her own medical team, trying to take back control of her body and her future.
Shooting, and she's been with our athletic training team, and we've been preparing everybody else.
This wasn't just about the injury. It was about the culture, the pressure to play, the silence around what she really felt. And still, despite clear signs she needed full rest, Clark was made to travel with the team, to fly long distances, to sit on the bench and show face. But medical professionals have warned that flying with a groin injury, especially a pulled adductor, can actually delay recovery. High altitudes, restricted movement, long hours in transit, it can all make things worse. So the question is, why is she still being flown around like a trophy? Was it her decision, or was it someone else's?
Are they finally going to let Caitlin Clark rest and relax and recover?
Because if the league or the Fever pushed her to travel while injured to keep up appearances, then this isn't just carelessness, it's exploitation.
But now you can, to some extent, kind of move on and say, hey, this is what we have for the time being. Let's move forward. What can that do over these next several weeks or whatever it takes?
Yeah, I think that's big. Just the mindset of our group to know that we've got what we've got, to continue to grow and connect in those ways, and not, is she available, is she not available, will she practice, will she not practice, and sort of the disruption that comes with some of that. So there's clarity, and I think that's good for everybody. It's good for Caitlin too, so she doesn't feel any kind of way. She can just approach and attack her rehab one day at a time.
The front office says there's no timetable for return,
There is no timetable available for her return.
But insiders are whispering that the season may be over for her.
Obviously, there's no timeline for Caitlin, but what has she been able to do this last week? Is it mostly just rehab recovery, or has she been able to do any kinds of practice?
Not because she's finished, but because they let it get this bad. She was screaming through her body language. Her jump was gone. Her shot was flat. Her movement lacked any fire. That's not just fatigue, that's breakdown. And when your own team won't give you clarity, when you have to seek outside help, when the league treats your injury like a business inconvenience, that's not recovery, that's betrayal. The mishandling of Caitlin Clark's health is becoming one of the most shameful stories in sports right now.
The Indiana Fever, they're on a bit of a slippery slope right now.
And it's happening in plain sight.
Caitlin Clark can seek out her own treatment, seek out her own doctors.
This isn't just a physical injury. What Caitlin Clark is going through right now is a full-blown collapse of trust, health, mental peace, and locker room stability, all at once. And it's playing out in front of millions of fans, yet somehow being ignored by the very people who should be protecting her. On the surface, the news sounds clean. No new damage. But beneath that headline is a player mentally and emotionally exhausted, forced to carry an entire franchise at age 22 while being targeted, doubted, and now left injured and isolated. Since her injury, Caitlin hasn't looked like herself, not just in movement, but in energy, in spirit. At the All-Star break, she pulled out of every event. She wasn't just injured, she was drained. And now, as games pass and no timetable remains the only update, we're watching the effects unfold. She's out indefinitely. Her team is sliding in the standings. The pressure is mounting from all sides. And inside the locker room, tension is boiling over.
There is a little tension between other players and Caitlin Clark.
Members of Kelsey Mitchell's own family have taken to social media attacking Caitlin. One even said, Indiana needs to really think about CC. I feel like she's hurting them more than helping them.
Indiana needs to really think about CC. I feel like she's hurting them more than helping them.
Another posted, she don't like playing defense. She can't play through contact.
CC don't have a big enough bag to be the main character of the team.
Her points won't be the same in this league. These aren't just fans. These are people close to her teammates. People speaking with venom, not concern. And let's be honest, no family goes public like that unless there's real tension behind the scenes. That locker room is fractured.
Kelsey Mitchell, yeah, Kelsey. I somewhat feel bad for you because you didn't start all this hoopla your sister Chelsea Mitchell did, which is crazy because she wasn't even good enough to make the WNBA. You made it, she didn't. She had to go play ball overseas in Europe because she couldn't make the WNBA. But
whether it's jealousy, resentment, or bitterness over the attention Caitlin gets,
Kelsey Mitchell is the soul of the franchise, and she's earned it.
It's leaking through, and it's hurting the team. Caitlin's injury may have removed her from the floor, but it exposed the entire system around her.
Caitlin Clark points is not going to be as high because of the system she's currently in.
A system where the rookie face of the league is not protected, not supported, and now not even welcomed by parts of her own environment. And think about what she's seeing from the bench. Her teammates throwing subtle shade, her coach changing lineups. The media running with the Fever are finding an identity without Caitlin. She's sitting there, now not just in pain, but watching the narrative flip against her.
Another player who can create shots for her teammates, as well as stretch the floor. A really good defensive rebounder.
I think she can remain in Indiana. I just don't believe the coach can.
Some say the Fever are better without her. That's a lie. The team is 4-7 without Caitlin.
The Fever are 4-7 without Caitlin Clark in the lineup.
They struggle to create shots. The offense looks lost.
Helping the Fever make the playoffs.
She was never the problem.
New York game, when New York was making some runs, we stopped hunting our shots. We passed up open shots. We second-guessed ourselves on the offensive end of the floor, second-guessed ourselves a little bit on the defensive end of the floor. And I mean, you know, when you even if it's the wrong thing, when there's clarity and conviction in it, good things happen.
But when you're injured, isolated, and surrounded by people more focused on headlines than healing, That isolation starts to cut deeper. Behind the scenes, Caitlin had to step away, not just from the game, but from the organization. She's now working with her own doctors, not the teams. That speaks volumes. And yet, even through all this, she's still showing up, still signing autographs, still flying with the team, still carrying the pressure of an entire league on her shoulders. But here's the truth no one wants to admit. Caitlin Clark is crying on the inside, not just from pain, but from betrayal.
I don't expect her back in August. Shut it down for the year. You've already ruined her.
From abandonment, from being told to rest, when what she really needed was protection, support, and leadership. She came into this league as a generational star, and now she's sitting on the sideline, physically broken, mentally isolated, and emotionally torn by a locker room that doesn't fully embrace her. And for what? So the league could sell out arenas and pretend nothing's wrong? So her own team could chase chemistry without its centerpiece? So the world could act like she's the problem while ignoring the real dysfunction happening behind closed doors? Caitlin Clark deserves better. And if no one inside the Fever locker room will say it, then we will. The mental toll on her right now is far worse than the groin injury itself, because bodies heal. But betrayal, that lingers. And when your franchise player starts turning to her own people for help, it's not just a warning sign. It's a goodbye signal.
That Stephanie White, I think she resigns after the season.
Let's stop pretending. Caitlin Clark didn't just get hurt on the court. She got targeted on every level. And this groin injury, it's not just the result of bad luck. It's the result of a league that has quietly and sometimes openly allowed an agenda to form against her. From the moment she stepped foot in the WNBA, the backlash began. Players questioned her toughness. Others made it physical. Cheap shots, hard fouls, subtle body checks that crossed the line. Some even admitted she has a target on her back.
They seem to hate her.
And then came the whispers. She doesn't belong. She's not built for this league. She can't handle contact. All of it designed to break her down, physically and mentally. And now, after her third injury of the season, they're pretending it's just part of the game. This wasn't random. This was inevitable because the league refused to protect its biggest star. Where was the league office when she was getting thrown to the floor game after game? Where was the outrage when opposing players admitted to intentionally trying to shake her confidence? Where was the support when social media turned into a daily hate machine?
Following a July 15th injury to her right groin, Indiana Fever guard Caitlin Clark underwent further medical evaluations earlier this week. The team can confirm that no additional injuries or damage were discovered through the evaluations.
Instead of backing her, the league used her for headlines, for tickets, for TV ratings. And the moment she got injured, they dialed the volume down. No timeline, day to day. We'll see. Because if they told the truth, that Caitlin Clark is out indefinitely, maybe for the season, the entire league's momentum would shatter. So they kept her visible, sitting courtside, smiling, signing autographs. But what they didn't show you was the real Caitlin, the one breaking down privately, the one fighting through a fog of pressure, the one trying to hold back tears every time someone questioned if she still has it. And then it got worse. Inside her own team, people started turning. We've seen relatives of teammates attacking her publicly, saying she's overhyped, saying she's hurting the team, saying she's not the star. That's not just trash talk. That's a window into a deep resentment brewing in the locker room. And the coaching staff, silent, absent, letting it fester. Now, some fans and even commentators have the nerve to suggest the team is better without her. Let's be real. The Fever are 4-7 without Caitlin Clark.
We've heard what people been saying about the Indiana Fever without her. They're finding an identity.
Without her, they lose shot creation, floor spacing, leadership, and gravity.
She has such gravity and her ability, not just to be the top of the scouting report, but her ability to make everybody better with the ball in her hands.
She is the reason this team was even in the playoff conversation. But facts don't matter to people who want her gone. They want her silenced, sidelined, forgotten. And yet she still shows up. still supports her team, still carries herself with class. But here's the truth no one in the media wants to say. There is a real agenda against Caitlin Clark, and it's not just unfair, it's dangerous. Because when the league fails to protect its own, and when teammates or their families openly drag a player down, you create a hostile, toxic environment. One that leads to injuries, one that breaks spirits, one that could drive a generational talent out of the game she loves. This isn't just about groin pain. This is about a young woman being worn down by a league that needed her fame, but never stood by her name. And now that she's injured and vulnerable, the wolves are circling. But they better be careful, because if Caitlin Clark ever decides she's done being nice, she's going to come back with fire. And when she does, every single person who doubted her will regret it.
The way she gets guarded in the WNBA, a way that nobody, and I mean nobody, has ever been guarded in the history of collegiate sports or the WNBA. It's just the truth. She takes a lot of banging and grabbing and holding and pulling, and your muscles are tight. You're embracing for impact. You have all these things going on when you're Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark didn't just suffer a groin injury. She suffered through neglect, mismanagement, in a broken system that failed her when she needed protection most. They called it a pulled muscle, but what it really pulled apart was her trust, her joy, and possibly her entire rookie season. While fans begged for clarity, she was left with silence. While teammates whispered doubts, she stayed professional. And while cameras showed her smiling, behind the scenes, she was crying.
People want to see her actually play.
Crying because her dream season has become a nightmare. Crying because she gave everything, and the system gave her pain. But here's what they can't break: her spirit. Caitlin Clark is more than ratings, more than hype. She's a fighter. And when she returns, she won't just play. She'll remind everyone why they needed her in the first place. If you stand with Caitlin Clark, if you're tired of the way she's being treated, drop a 100% in the comments right now. Because no matter how dark it gets, this game still belongs to her. And when she comes back, she won't just be healed, she'll be unstoppable.
Take as much time as you need. We want you to be healthy and happy long term.